Hello children, welcome to social science class. Today we shall discuss one new chapter from your history book, that is lesson 8, Civilizing the Native, Educating the Nation. Many of you might have heard about the famous sword of Tipu Sultan, an 18th century Indian ruler. Some years ago, it was purchased in an auction in London by the Bengaluru based businessman Vijay Mallya and brought back to India. You will be surprised to learn that, like Tipu showed, thousands of other objects and articles that were earlier owned by several other Indian rulers might still be lying in the museums and art galleries of European cities like London and Paris. Can you guess who took these objects and articles away from India, the country to which they originally belonged? They were Britishers or English East India Company. That English East India Company received a charter from the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth I, in 1600, through which it got the sole rights to trade with the eastern countries. In modern history, which starts from the 18th century, we study about the decline of Mughal Empire and the colonization of India by the British. Those British people entered India for trading purpose but gradually occupied the territory and established their colonial rule. And today we are going to study, besides this territorial conquest and control over revenues, what others thought were there in their mind. They also felt that they had a cultural mission. They had to civilize the natives, change their customs and values. What changes were to be introduced? How were Indians to be educated, civilized, and made into what the British believed were good subjects? The British could find no simple answers to these questions. They continued to be debated for many decades. Today we shall read about the Britishers' intention, how they wanted to give good quality education to the Indians, how one group of people were in favor of the Indian education, Indian tradition, Indian ancient text, and another group of people, they were not interested for the Indian education. Let us look at what the British thought and did, and how some of the ideas of education that we now take for granted evolved in the last 200 years, and the Indians' reaction towards it. In 1783, a person named William Jones arrived at Calcutta. He had appointed as the junior judge of the Supreme Court. In addition to being an expert in law, he was a linguist. He had studied Greek, Latin, French, English, Arabic, and in addition to these languages, when he arrived at Calcutta, he studied Sanskrit from a Pandit. And after this, he started discovering Indian text, Indian ancient text, Indian law, philosophy, religion, politics, morality, arithmetic, medicine, and other sciences. His interests were shared by other British officials like Henry Thomas Colebrooke, and Nathaniel Halhed. They were also busy discovering the ancient Indian heritage, mastering Indian languages, and translating Sanskrit and Persian works into English. Together with them, John set up the Asiatic Society of Bengal, and started a journal called Asiatic Researches. Jones and Colebrooke came to represent a particular attitude towards India. They shared a deep respect for ancient cultures, both of India and the West. Sir Jones and Colebrooke went about discovering ancient texts, understanding their meaning, translating them, and making their findings known to others. This project, they believed, would not only help the British learn from Indian culture, but it would also help Indians to rediscover their own heritage and understand the lost glories of their past. In this process, the British would become the guardians of Indian culture as well as its masters. Influenced by such ideas, many company officials argued that the British ought to promote Indian rather than Western learning. They felt that institutions should be set up to encourage the study of ancient Indian texts and teach Sanskrit and Persian literature and poetry. They also thought that Hindus and Muslims ought to be taught what they were already familiar with and what they valued and treasured, not subjects that were alien to them. Only then, they also believed that only then they could the British hope to win a place in the hearts of the natives. Only they could accept the alien rulers, and if they think that those rulers are respecting our ancient texts, respecting our traditions, our customs, they will think that okay, they are familiar with us, and they want to become one of the Indians, one of the when the Britishers accept the Indian culture, the love towards Britishers will develop, and through this only Britishers can achieve a good position in the heart of the Indians. With this object in view, a madrasa was set up in Calcutta in 1781. To promote the study of Arabic, Persian and Islamic law, and the Hindu College was established in Banaras in 1791. The study of Sanskrit text that would be useful for the administration of the country. For that reason, they wanted to encourage the study of ancient Sanskrit. Not all officials shared these views. Many Britishers were against this system, and they criticized them. Those group of people who were in favor of Britishers, they were known as Orientalists, and those people though who were against the Indian educational system, they were known as Angelicists. In next class, we are going to read about these two different groups in detail. With this, I conclude my class. Thank you and have a nice day.